Hi, this is Maurizio from DEO, and you're watching and listening to Metal on Loud.
Thanks for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. We had such a great time talking last time with the previous album. Re-invite you.
Awesome. I'm glad to be back.
So how are things in the world of DEO?
Good. The record is getting really, really good reviews at the moment. It's getting well received. So we're happy about that. You know, there's a lot of work behind it. It's not an easy album to put together. You know, DEO is always like 3-4 years type of thing between records. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Considering everything going on in the world, so far, so good.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world. It's, to be honest, it's starting to look a bit like the Roman Empire.
A little bit, yeah. With a lot of instabilities, right?
And fallen leaders and such. Can you see the parallels?
Yeah. It's obvious that the same system is still here. You know, like that's just different. You know, the parallels between the ancient Romans and now is like, you know, there was the dark times. You know, there was the when everything fell and then everything kind of went into the dark ages. We don't want to go there this time. That's the plan.
Well, you did seem to have a lot of fun in the slaughter in the video.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, it's like if you look at the ancient Rome, especially in that time with Nero, it was all about corruption. There was a lot of corruption. He didn't trust anybody. The Senate was completely greedy and corrupt. So it's the same everywhere. A lot of this, stuff going on around the world. Anything that's any excuse with a crisis for to bank on it or to further agendas. You know, it's normal. It's kind of normal. With them, it's never to our benefit. Let's put it that way.
Well, at least they got to kill their leaders in a bloody way.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So
now you cancel them. Now you cancel them.
Yeah, now you cancel them. Yeah, exactly. No, they don't get to Twitter.
Right.
So what can you tell me about the process of the album this time? Was it a typical recording process? Did things go differently?
You know, with DEO and Cataclysm and everything I've done, everybody doesn't live in the same city. So we're all scattered. So for us, it's always been the same process about writing and, we do it remotely. So for us, that process hasn't changed. What's changed a little bit has been more, for example, the video process. To do the video for this record, I had to do it in Atlanta, which is closer to, I live in Florida at the moment. So it was closer to me to go to Atlanta with some directors that I know already who were there. But I had to educate everybody about what this is, because in America, it's not the same of, I usually film this stuff in Europe. So that's, the cradle of all of it. So it's easier. So here I had to kind of really explain, detail to detail how to do this. So that was a challenging thing about the record. Other than that, the writing process is pretty similar. This one was a bit difficult in the sense that I had to kind of really get into the persona of Nero, and there's a lot of acting kind of, involved with DEO. It's more of a theatrical thing. It's not just a band. So it's got a lot of different angles to follow. So the music has to follow the lyrical concept. The soundtrack scores everything. So that needs to be really, dramatic and into the world. So we had to go piece by piece to put it together, It took a good year to put the album together, but we were happy in the end. The results, we're happy with it.
I always think of DEO and you as my favorite history teachers.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I wish I was teaching myself too when I was in school. It'll be a little bit less long, but certain things.
If you're still in school, it's different. Then you have to learn.
Right, it's true. Yeah, it's true. So,
would you say that this is one of your favorite parts of the Roman mythology? The
you talk about the Nero era, or Yeah, I mean, it's so vast, right? It's 1,000 years of history, so there's a lot to choose from, and it's very rich. So there's a lot of crazy stuff, good stuff. You know, there's the bad and the villains, the good and the villains. So there's everything that a metal concept record could choose from. You know, and Nero for me was, you know, you can't talk about ancient Rome without talking about Nero. He was too important and too popular. And I think he's the perfect metal candidate, you know, especially with, you know, being coined the Antichrist, and, you know, all the inverted crosses you see in metal are coming from that era of time, you know, because he was the one crucifying them upside down, you know, because they weren't worthy of dying like Jesus. So he reversed the crosses on them. So that's where that symbol comes from. It's a sign of rebellion from the Christian side, you know. So it was kind of, you know, perfect metal concept record that I could put together, and also touched Britain a little bit because that was during his time. So there's a lot of cool things we could go back and forth to. So, it was one of those things that needed to be done. So I had a lot of people asking for it, so we had to do it.
You also had a great few guests on this album, from Unleash the Archers.
Yeah. She's awesome. I mean, I've known Brittany for a while now. I work together with her band Unleash the Archers. I have a management company, so I take care of a lot of bands, and that's one of them. And look, she's a rebel. You know, she's that perfect embodiment of rebellious attitude, and she's a great front woman, and her voice is great. So as I said before, like XDEO is very, you have to get in the role. So you have to put yourself mindful into how it would be. So if I'm playing Nero, I have to talk like him, and I have to kind of get into that kind of character. So she was perfect to do Boudica, you know, for me. She's and that's the symbol for Britain of freedom and rebellion. So it made sense, you know. Yeah. She was the only one we invited on the record because that was a perfect spot for her, somebody, you know. The rest I handled everything else. So
I really loved that last look you gave in the video. Yeah, with the knife on your throat. Yeah. Your music is always really how do you call it, cinematic, I think, and you can feel the story come through the vibe of the music. I always wonder how much time does it take to compose a song like that?
Well, you know, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of quality for me. It's more like, and it ends up taking time because of that. But some songs will come a lot easier. Some will take more time. Like, for example, the first song of the record, Claudius, is the longest on the album, which is ironic because the first song usually is never the longest. We wanted to do, it needed to be that way because we're putting a lot of information on that first song, because it's the end of the old and the birth of the new, between the Nero transition. So that was long. So that song took time to put together, you know, like I remember, which is funny about that song is that I was like, I need a riff that's going to be so evil and tough in the beginning of the album that's going to just grab people by the neck, you know. And I mimicked the riff in my shower. I was having a shower. I was like, bam, and bam, bam. I was like, I need that riff to come in. And then I called JF and I was like, I'm going to tell you how to do this riff. You got to write this riff this way, you know. So he did perfect. Yeah.
It's really funny you say it, that it happened that way, because my next question was going to be, I cannot imagine you coming up with this stuff in the shower.
Yeah, but it did.
But it did.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs on the album, because it has a great vibe to it, I think, is The Fiddle and the Fire.
Yeah,
but for some reason that just spoke to me.
Yes, well, you know, it's funny because the record, it's like a bit like the intermezzo in the album. It starts very dramatic and heavy and evil and dark, right? And then it turns, as it goes out, the record turns into more epic and grandiose, you know, like more orchestrated. So there's a little bit less orchestra in the beginning of the record, but it turns into that at the end. It's like the intermezzo. It starts really evil and crazy, and then it turns into like this big stuff, like epic. So towards the end of the record, you have a more melodic feel, more, a lot of orchestral score more. So, it just goes with the rhythm and what the stuff is going on. And you're going to have an overfeel of paranoia. You're going to have fear. You're going to have anger. All these emotions which represented Nero are in the record. That was the basis of putting this together.
I also really love how you cast a character for the video clip for Nero. Right. He just nails it, man.
It's a young Nero. Obviously, he just got into power and he wants to set the score right away, from the beginning. So it's if you read a lot about it, he was really a rebel, like a metal character. He did not like the Senate. He wanted to be a musician. He was like an actor, poet. So he was all about arts. He had nothing to do with the end. Like his mom was the one that pushed him into it. His mom was the one that wanted him to be emperor so she can control Rome, So, she married Claudius, killed him, got him into power, and then killed the little brother Britannicus. And then so she had open pathway. So it's like he's living with somebody that's a monster pretty much around him, all the time. So, and then he becomes paranoid as well with all his environment. So he starts eliminating senators and stuff like that. So the video is kind of like a homage to like in a kind of horror flick type of feeling of what he would do.
All I was thinking is remind me to never go to dinner at your place.
Not as extreme as he is.
One thing I also thought that was great is that I saw your website and you announced a tour.
Yes, we announced the tour. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be this year. That got pushed to next year. So we were supposed to come here this year to Europe, and the problem is that too many countries are not ready, and there's too many countries on the package. So there's I think over 20 countries in Europe that we're visiting on this tour with Flesh God Apocalypse. So it was a perfect package. I think both bands together would be great, and but unfortunately, this is an issue because of we can play Germany and then we can't play Holland, or we can play Belgium and cannot play France. So it's too complicated. We hope that in 1 year things are better, and we keep hoping, and it feels like it gets pushed all the time.
You don't tour a lot with DEO, and I get that. We spoke about that the last time, but I'd really like to see this stuff live, man.
It's going to happen, and actually DEO will be taking more forefront in the future. It's something that I really want to do, and I want to bring a theatrical aspect live with DEO. I want to bring it to life. So to do that, it needs time and it needs investments, and we want to do it in a time where things are going to be able to work, and not invest all this and then it fails because we can't get there. So that's one of the main focus for DEO coming forward, and it's going to be a little bit less Cataclysm, a little bit more DEO as far as touring is concerned.
Okay. I can see that. Curtains opening and just a big table there with a slaughter scene.
It would be great. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah. People are going to have to wear a poncho because of the blood splatter.
A little bit of gore there.
Right.
Yeah. So with the tour on pause, what's your year going to look like?
Well, we're actually leaving next week in the US. We're going on tour with Deicide, with Cataclysm. So this is something that we had planned already last year. And then we took our time and then rebooked it finally this year. And so far, so good. There's no places in the US that you can not tour so far. So everything's open. We are having a surge of this Delta stuff, but they're mostly concentrating on people that are unvaccinated and stuff like that. So for us, the clubs are still open. That's the important thing. So we're leaving next week. So we'll see. It's the first official package tour. It's Deicide, Cataclysm with Internal Bleeding and some other bands. And, we're going to do our best to hopefully get this through,
Will you be recording any of the live shows? Because
no, I think we'll stream a few. Probably try and stream something live if we can, one of the shows or something, so people can see. But it's looking good. A lot of tickets sold, and let's see, so a lot of sold out shows already. So people are waiting, that's what they want. Yeah. It's just unfortunate with the situation we're in, but I think we are slowly but surely getting it out of this thing. I think by next year we should be back into it. We were almost there this summer, but I think next summer, well, unless they come up with a new variant,
please no. They call it the Nero.
The Nero variant, yeah. I like that.
As an ex-DEO fan, I've learned to become a patient man, so we'll just wait.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Do you have any last words to your fans out there, to our viewers?
I'm just grateful for all of them, and that they're embracing the record so much. We're very happy about that. It's we put a lot of heart and work in it to make it different than the usual metal record, and so we're glad to see people embracing it. We see a growth with ex-DEO more and more, and so it's cool. So it's a good artistic vision. And it's really cool that people are getting into it. So look forward to going on the road. I think it's all there for ex-DEO. It's, if we can bring this live to real life, like a theatrical aspect, it would be great. So hopefully we get your support for that and you guys come out.
I'm on board. Thank you very much for talking to us. And
Thank you.
We'll see you out there.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Cheers. All right.